Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Mindset and Momentum, the podcast where we talk about real life English, personal growth, and practical ways to improve our daily lives. I'm your host, Alex, and today we are talking about a topic that I am sure everyone listening can relate to. We are talking about change. Hook and personal anecdote. Think about the last time you wanted to make a major change in your life. Maybe it was the start of a new year, a Sunday evening, or the morning after reading a very inspiring book. You probably felt a sudden burst of motivation. You told yourself, starting tomorrow, I am going to wake up at 5 a.m. every single day. I will go to the gym for 2 hours daily. I am going to cut out sugar, social media, and laziness entirely, and study English for 3 hours a day. Sound familiar? Of course it does. We've all been there. We set the bar so high that we practically guarantee our own failure. And then, what happens? By Tuesday or Wednesday, you feel exhausted. By Friday, you've given up completely. You look at yourself in the mirror and think, I have no self-discipline. I guess I'm just not someone who can change. Breaking the cycle. Stop right there. Let me stop you immediately. It is not your fault. Well, sort of, but not in the way you think. The problem isn't your lack of willpower or your lazy character. The problem is your strategy. Today we are going to explore a completely different approach. We are going to look at why tiny, almost invisible changes are actually far more powerful than massive, dramatic overhauls. We will look at the psychology behind habits, how our brains react to stress and sudden changes, and how you can use the power of micro steps to transform your English, your health, and your life without burning out. So, grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in. The psychology of overwhelm, why big goals fail to understand why small steps work so well. We first need to understand how our brain reacts to sudden, massive changes. In psychology, there is a concept called the amygdala hijack. The amygdala is the emotional, ancient part of our brain. Its main job is survival. It looks out for danger, threats, and uncertainty. When you suddenly decide to change your entire routine overnight, for example, going from sitting on the couch, watching Netflix every evening, to running 5 kilometers and studying grammar for 2 hours, your brain does not see this as self-improvement. Your brain sees this as a threat. The brain's defense mechanism. Why? Because change requires energy, and your brain is designed to conserve energy. When it perceives a massive, exhausting task ahead, it triggers a stress response. It sends signals of resistance, anxiety, and extreme laziness. It whispers to you, this is too hard. Let's just watch one more episode of our favorite show instead. It's safer here. And that is why willpower alone is never enough. Willpower is like a muscle. If you overuse it, it gets tired. If you rely purely on motivation to push through massive changes, you will run out of fuel very quickly. The alternative, the power of 1%. So, what is the alternative? The alternative is to trick your brain. Instead of triggering the amygdala with a massive, terrifying goal, you introduce changes so small that your brain doesn't even notice them. Because the step is so tiny, your brain doesn't sound the alarm. There is no resistance, no stress, and no fear. Think about it like compound interest in finance. If you improve by just 1% every single day, by the end of 1 year, you won't just be 365% better, which is 3.6 times. Due to the compounding effect, you will be nearly 37 times better than you are today. Let that sink in for a moment. 37 times better. simply by making microscopic, nearly effortless adjustments to your daily routine. Applying micro steps to language learning, the B1/B2 plateau. Now, let's bring this down to something very practical for all of you listening right now, learning English. Many of you listening are at the B1 or B2 level. This is a very interesting stage. It's what teachers call the intermediate plateau. At A1 and A2, progress feels fast. You learn how to say hello, order coffee, talk about your family, and form basic sentences. Every week you feel like you are unlocking new achievements. But at B1 and B2, things slow down. You can already express yourself, but you make grammar mistakes. Your vocabulary feels limited when you want to talk about abstract topics, and native speakers talk too fast. You feel stuck. The trap of the intensive study. Illusion. When students hit this plateau, they often panic. They think, I need to study harder. I will buy a 500-page grammar book, study for 3 hours every Saturday, and memorize 100 words every week. What happens? You buy the book. Saturday arrives. You sit down at your desk. The book looks heavy and boring. After 20 minutes of forcing yourself to read about past, perfect, continuous, passive structures, your mind wanders. You check your phone, you clean your desk, you find any excuse to escape. By the end of the day, you feel guilty, stressed, and even further away from fluency. The micro-step solution for English. Let's apply the principle of small steps instead. What does a micro-step look like for learning English at an intermediate level? The 2-minute rule, instead of telling yourself, I'm going to study English for an hour today, tell yourself, I am just going to open my English.podcast app and listen for 2 minutes. That's it. Just 2 minutes. The magic trick. Most of the time, the hardest part of any task is simply starting. Once you overcome that initial friction and open the app, your brain relaxes. You realize, hey, this isn't so bad. And instead of stopping at 2 minutes, you end up listening for 20 minutes or even half an hour. But even if you do stop after 2 minutes, you still kept your promise to yourself. You reinforce the identity of someone who practices English every day. Habit stacking. This is a fantastic concept developed by habit experts. You take an existing habit that you already do every single day without thinking, like brushing your teeth, making your morning coffee, or commuting to work, and you stack a tiny English habit on top of it. Example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will read one short news article in English. Example, while I'm waiting for the bus, I will learn one new vocabulary word on my phone. These actions take almost zero extra time out of your busy day, but over weeks and months, they accumulate into massive results. Physical health, productivity, and daily routines. Beyond English. Transforming lifestyle habits. While improving your English is fantastic, these principles apply to every single area of your life. Let's talk about physical health and productivity because a healthy body and a clear mind make you a much better learner. Many people think getting fit means joining an expensive gym, buying specialized clothes, changing your entire diet overnight, and waking up at dawn. If you do all of that at once, what happens? By February, the gym is empty, and you are back on the couch eating junk food. The one push-up rule. Let's look at fitness through the lens of micro steps. There is a famous story of a man who wanted to get in shape, but he hated exercise. He decided to commit to doing just one push-up every single day after brushing his teeth. Just one. It took 5 seconds. Could anyone find the time or energy to do one push-up? Of course. Even on his most tired, stressful days, he could manage one push-up. What happened after a month? Doing one push-up became completely automatic. It felt weird not to do it. And because he was already down on the floor in position, doing a second push-up didn't seem so hard. Then a third. Within a few months, without any intense suffering or psychological pressure, he was doing a full workout routine every day. He didn't change his life through explosive motivation. He changed it through consistency, productivity, and deep work. The same goes for work or studying. If you have a big project, like writing a report, studying for an exam, or creating a presentation, looking at the entire project can cause mental paralysis. Instead of writing down work on project on your to-do list, which is vague and overwhelming, break it down into a ridiculously small micro step. Instead of write the report, write, open the document and write 3 bullet points. Instead of clean the entire house, write, put 3 items back in their proper place. When the friction is removed, action becomes easy. And action creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence leads to mastery. Overcoming obstacles and maintaining momentum, the inevitable dip. As we move toward the final section of today's episode, I want to talk about something very realistic: setbacks. Change is never a straight line pointing upward. It is messy. It looks like a roller coaster. You will have great days where you feel inspired, focused, and energetic. And then you will have days, or even weeks, where everything falls apart. You get sick, work gets crazy, you feel depressed, or you simply lose your motivation. You miss a day of studying, or you skip your habits for a week. When this happens, what is the most common reaction? Guilt. You tell yourself, I missed 3 days. I ruined my streak. I'm a failure. I might as well quit. The never miss twice rule. This is the all or nothing trap. It is the belief that if you can't do something perfectly, you shouldn't do it at all. Successful people, the ones who make lasting permanent changes, do not live by perfection. They live by a simple rule: never miss twice,